It's Saturday, I think it's 17th of March. Been like a spring day today. So I think it went up to a high of 14. It's only dropping down to 9. Air pressure's about 1010. And as you can see, I'm on a new lake. One of my neighbours and friends from years back, we used to be fishing in the matches against each other in opposing teams. Introduced me to this lake, which is run by Paxman's. As soon as he mentioned big tench, I was really interested. By all accounts, they go to £10 in here. I've seen photographs of £9 fish, so that intrigued me. When you add in the history of the lake, it was dug in the early 60s and for gravel primarily, and filled up naturally from the water table. It's not far from the River Colne estuary here. I guess it's about 3/4 of a mile, and it's about, I guess, about 50 foot below the road level, which is up the top. Fortunately, there's a track round for the barra. He may be in that far corner over there. Just turn it round a little bit so you can see. Yeah, decent track for the electric barra. I'm intrigued. It's up to 10 foot in places. There was a handful of carp put in the early 60s. By all accounts, there's rudd, perch and roach to £3. So there's no reason to believe the tench can't get very big in here. How many there is, I don't know, although Mark Ostis did say he saw some little finger size babies last year, so there's at least got to be 2 in here, for them, a male and a female, for them to have bred successfully. So I'm optimistic, but as I've said many times before, I'm always optimistic. I picked an area out in front of me, which is about 7 foot, not too far out, at the bottom of the first shelf. It drops down gradually to about 5 and then drops off quite quickly down to 7 and then eases down to 8.5. The water level's up about 1.5 foot, where isn't up at the moment. I mean, a lot of the lakes, the LAA lakes, are out of bounds at the moment because they're inaccessible where the Suffolk Stour is flooded. So this is the Paxman's Lake. It's in Alresford, which is in Essex, right over on the coast, not far from where I live, St Joseph. In fact, it's quite nice. It took me about 5 minutes to get here, and it'd be nice because I can come and walk around at the drop of a hat. By all accounts, it gets full up with a lot of weed in the summer, which is great. I don't mind raking for the tench. A lot of lily pads, love lily pads for tench as well. Good target to fish too. So yeah, it's still early doors, but having caught a couple of tench at Alton, I'm optimistic, but I'm not optimistic. So I'm going to get my rods out, and as and when and if I actually manage to get anything, I'll get back to you. All right, so as for ground bait, obviously because it's a new place, I'm kind of making it up, but I've fished for tench before, and looking at the lay of the land and the bottom and what's out there, I had a chuck out with my rake and I came back with a bit of bloodworm. So my mix this week is I've got some black crumb to match the bottom because it is really dark. I've got some micro pellet again, but then I've added some fish meal pellet, a little bit bigger this week. These 2mm Bait Tech fish meal pellet. They smell really good, and I like basic fish meal. And my understanding is the tench have never been, or never properly been fished for, certainly not for a long time. So rather than going with krill or something like that then really wouldn't be used to, I'm going to go back to what worked many years ago when they first introduced fish meal pellet. And I've added in some crushed up tutti frutti boilies. Nice smell. Tench always like a tutti frutti boilie before it's all gone. I was going to bring some maggots with me, but when I walked around a couple of days ago, there was so many shoals of rudd. A decent size, some of them. By all accounts, they go up to £3. But I thought, well, I could put out 2 pints of maggots. They'd get eaten probably before they hit the bottom with the amount of rudd that were in there. So, and then sweet corn. The swim I've picked is at the far end of the lake, on the north side of it. Doesn't get a lot of sunlight this time of year, but it gets enough, and it's quite, as you can see, it's quite an open expanse of water. I believe it's 5 acres in total. I've got, if I cast out towards the middle, if I just turn you around a little bit so you can see a bit better, out towards the middle, I've got, I guess it's probably about 80, 70, 80 yards across the other side. In the middle, I've got about 8.5 foot of water. Normally it's about 7.5, but by all accounts, the lake's up a good foot, as you can see by the platform. Just about be able to stand on that, I think. Maybe in some wellies. I've gone for the near sides margin. It gradually shallows up, and where I'm fishing, I've got just over 7 foot. But if I come in another 3 foot, it's only 5 foot. So it's quite a sharp drop off. And my understanding of tench, what I do know about them, is particularly at night, they do like to hug the margins. Years and years ago, I used to fish the old North Met pit in the Lee Valley, and the tench, the only time you would catch them would be at night or in the late evening, and it would literally be an underarm chuck, unless you was somewhere where you could cast to the far margin. But they were, and it's wherever I've fished over the years, whether it's Bures Lake on the LAA water, Glemsford Lakes, the fish, Hemmingford Grey, the fish, like, in an ideal world, tench want between 6 and 8 foot of water. Not sure if this is something to do with their swim bladder, but that seems to be the scenario. And also they do like the margins. So I'm going to get some bait out, get my rods back to you, get my rods out and get back to you as and when, if I catch something. I've seen a couple of carp swirl, so hopefully the tench won't be too far away. I'm rather hoping, because of the slightly silty bottom, we might actually see some fish blowing up today. So get back to you soon. First fish on a new lake. A lake that's got primarily tench, bream, roach, rudd and perch-in. What do I catch the bream? About 4.5, 5 pounds. Let's get it back, see what else is out there. I've heard of a couple of tench rolling. It's about 8:30 in the evening, it's first proper bite. Speak to you soon. 6th fish of the session, as you can see, another small bream. They've all been pretty much this size, 4 or 5. Biggest I had was about 5.5 pound. Been a busy night, not a lot of sleep, but they did come in fits and starts. I had 2 fish, then I had a gap, then 2 fish. So onwards, and let's see what happens. At least I'm catching in daylight, as you can see. It's a nice surprise this morning. So just coming up for 9 o'clock. Nice little, really old common. You can see, lovely fish. It's had a couple of hooks in its mouth in its time. I guess maybe 10, 11 pound. Nice and solid. Lovely scales on both sides. It's got one little mark down by a tail, as you can see. But let's get her back and see what else is out there. I've just seen my first tench fizzing over my bait. Rod went. That's what came in. I was convinced it was a big lump tench, but we'll see. Cheers, guys. Quick update. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. As you can see, it's turned into a beautiful afternoon. Last night I had 6 bream, and then this morning I had a beautiful original common that was stocked. The lake owner was suggesting probably in the early 60s. Beautiful old fish, and it looked like an ancient warrior, but very, very, very good condition. And according to Mark, they don't come out very often, so happy with that. So it's been quiet during the day, horrible rainy morning, but I've decided to stay for a second night. I feel there's fish about. I've seen tench blowing here and there, not a lot of activity during the day. Interestingly, all the fish I've had have been on a butterfly, a tutti frutti. So basically I cut half of a bottom tutti frutti, 10 mil, and turn it around. So the flat sides towards the hook, then a krill pellet, and then half of a pop-up facing away, if that makes sense. I'll show you the rig in a bit. I went through the card. I tried everything I could think of. I've tried boilies, I've tried pellet, I've tried worm, I've tried sweet corn and various combinations of those. But most of the indications were coming on that tutti frutti, and it seems to work well in really old. I mean, this lake's best part of 65 years old. It seems to work well in these old lakes. I thought they'd prefer perhaps the halibut or a fish meal pellet, and although they're moving over what I'm feeding, which is fish meal pellet, they seem to prefer the krill pellet between the two boilies. I'll just get one of my rigs and show you what I'm using. So this is the rig. I don't know if you can see. So feeder again, little feeder this time. That's a bit of sinking tutti frutti, krill pellet, and a bit of pop up. It actually looks quite nice. The pop up just critically balances, and it kind of, you can see I've trimmed the edge of both the pop up and the bottom bait so that it's a similar size. And I found that tench in particular, even though I've not had any, seem to like long thin baits like this. So let's get the rod back out, and I'll get back to you hopefully as and when I catch something. 20 to 10 in the evening. Just nodded off, and off went my right hand rod. By the time I got to it, it was halfway across the lake. Beautiful condition, common, absolutely mint both sides, as you can see. Not a mark on her. Just over 16.5 pound. Put up a good scrap, I can tell you. Right, not what I was targeting, but more than happy with that. Get my rods back out, see what's out there. Well, just to wrap up on a beautiful morning. Sun's out, clear blue sky, beautiful, stunning lake, really well kept, amazing fish. First session, enjoyed it. It wasn't easy, but I don't like it easy. I like a challenge, and so it proved. The tench were elusive. I think maybe I might be a week or two early on this particular lake. I saw certainly more signs this morning, albeit I didn't catch any, than I did yesterday. Looking forward to coming back and testing my wits against these elusive tench in this lake. They're in here along with some beautiful carp, as the two I had, and a handful of smallish bream, which kept me busy the first night, not so much the second night. Got a theory on that. I think when the carp move into your swim, obviously I had that one last night about 20 to 10. I think there was fish about, carp about in my swim. They tend to keep the bream away, and so it's proved on a lot of the venues I've fished. So when the carp move in, certainly if they're a decent size, they tend to push the bream out. So yep, I hope you enjoyed this little trip on this beautiful lake, North Essex, in Alresford, run by Paxman's, really well run club. A lot of fantastic lakes. Yeah, looking forward to fishing some of their other venues in the near future, and yeah, it's been fantastic. So chat to you soon, guys. Don't forget, if you'd liked it, like it and subscribe as well. It helps. Thank you very much. See ya.